Well, Danny, a tough game last weekend, but we've got the chance to make things right this weekend.
Yeah, it's been a difficult week because obviously we're carrying a few injuries. We're desperate to try and get some players in, but like I said to you before, it's not just as easy as highlighting a player, phoning him up and saying come and play for us. There's so many things, so many hurdles that have got to be jumped over now. So it's difficult, but we're focusing. We've got 2 or 3 we're looking at. We're trying to get done, and we've got 2 or 3 who are carrying knocks at the minute. We're hoping that are going to be okay. So it's been tough, but we had a friendly on Tuesday night, an in-house friendly, and against good opposition, and there were some positives out of that as well. Some of the academy lads did really well. They've been in training with us today because I thought they were impressive, and George got through 90 minutes, which was good. So he's fit for selection now from the start, which helps. We've relieved some of the pressure, and we scored some good goals. So from that perspective, it's been quite a good week, but in other ways, it's been quite difficult.
And the obvious place to start is with Mo's injury following Saturday. Firstly, how's he doing and what's his recovery like?
The initial reaction on Saturday was quite a negative one. We were concerned over whether he'd actually be able to play again this season. Touch wood, it seems like that's not that severe, and the rehab that we're looking at is a lot more shorter term than that. So hopefully he'll be back. He's not going to be back in the immediate future, but hopefully he'll be back a lot quicker than we first envisaged. And
you mentioned players obviously recovering from injury and things like that. I know it's been a tough thing for us to work on as well, but like you said, a lot of work's been done behind the scenes to make sure we have people in place. Yeah,
I mean, we've lost out on a couple this week for a multitude of reasons, which was disappointing. I think you know what's really difficult is when you're dealing with some players, they'd rather stay at their clubs and not play than maybe drop down a league or 2 and play. And it always baffles me. I've been in youth development and I've been in around that, and I think the biggest advice I can give to any player, regardless of whether you're 19, 29 or 39, is you've got to be playing games. And so it's been difficult, and I think that there's a stigma around the National League, and I for one have been pleasantly surprised with the standard of and the quality of the players that are at this level. And I think that these young lads and these sort of on the fringe pros need to have a little bit of a wake-up call really, and have a look at the level. And unless there's a fear factor of they might not be able to do it, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know that. That's obviously we'll never know. But it is hard to get the players over the line at the minute.
As you mentioned, George Fowler earlier as well, playing 90 minutes in the friendly on Tuesday. He's back in the matchday squad on Saturday. How's his recovery been? Yeah, he's a top lad. He's focused, he's driven, he's hungry, and I think that he comes across as so kind of relaxed and laid back, but behind the scenes he's quite an intense guy in the sense of he wants to be where he wants to get. And I think from our perspective it's going to be great to have him back in, and as I said, he came through everything this week fully fit, and yeah, he's almost like a new signing, so that's a big plus for us. And Alex Finney as well, how's he been getting on?
Well, Alex is a definite no for Saturday. He feels quite confident in where he's at, that he should be able to get back on the grass next week, which would put him into contention for the following game. So, but that is an area we're looking to strengthen him. We do need to strengthen in that area, regardless of whether Finney's back in fit or not, because we can't be scratching around all the time worrying about have we got enough defenders to have on the bench to cover us on a match day. So the squad's being tested in a minute.
And looking at Boreham Wood as well, they've just signed Adam May from Portsmouth as well. Yeah. They've been a good run a minute, but it was a close game when we played them at their place a few months ago.
Yeah, I think people criticised us because we didn't win the game, and I was delighted with the fact that we got a clean sheet away at a team like Boreham Wood, because Luke's done a tremendous job there, and he's a good manager, and what he has got is firepower. I think they've got 28 between them, the 2 forwards, and they've got Adi Youssef, who's sitting on the bench waiting and biting at the bit to get in. And like he's done this week, I believe they lost a player, hence the fact they've brought Adam May in. But no, I mean they're unbeaten in 14, starting with the first game against us with a 0 draw, and they've had some tremendous results.
And they also beat Searle away last weekend as well. That's a tough game for anyone to go to.
Yeah, I mean I watched the game again today. I think Luke himself would have admitted it was a tough game for them, and what they showed was that when you are on a run, the character and the confidence of the team gets you through games at times. And I thought they showed what they showed on Saturday was a real good balance of play, and credit to him, because they when they need to play they can, and if they need to just be more direct and clear their lines and do the basics well, I think that's why they've done what they've done, is because they do that well.
And one thing we've spoken off camera, and one thing that's high up on our list of topics recently is mental health. With our mental health seminar coming up, and that's something that you're quite keen to talk about as well.
Yeah, I think that it's been playing on my mind a little bit for a while. I was going to bring it up at the fans forum, but I wanted the fans forum to be more of a positive environment, so we didn't really talk about it then. But it always baffles me that when you work in football, you kind of have there's an assumption that if you're a manager or a player or a member of staff at a football club, it's open season on you. You can abuse those people as much as you want. And I'm not talking about criticism. I'm not talking about people saying I didn't think the team was any good today or we were nowhere near. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about personal attacks. And it's made me even question whether I actually want to be on it or not, because I've had mental health issues. I'm not afraid to admit that. And to get some of the abuse that we get is, and I'm not talking about criticism, I'm talking about personal abuse, about actually us as people. You wouldn't be able to do that in any other workplace. If you did that in an office, you'd probably get a final warning and potentially be sacked. But yet we're supposed to just take it on the chin and get on with it. And we've got a very young squad, and from my perspective, social media is one of the biggest causes of mental health issues in the country. There's so many more young children and young people being diagnosed with various types of conditions, and the crux of it tends to go all the way back to social media. And from my perspective now, and my statement to the team and the squad has been, if you receive any personal attacks on social media, one, we report it. However light you may think you're being about it, if you're the person making the attack, one, we report it, and two, they will be blocked. And not just blocked by the person who's been abused on social media, but I will recommend the whole squad block that person, and that goes for myself as well, because I don't want to read it. I don't want to see it. I'm a positive person. I try to live my life in a really positive way, and I'm quite fortunate. My partner, she's a very highly qualified in hypnotherapy. She's an NLP practitioner, and she's a life coach. And I spoke to her about it, and we talked about the fact that I might come off social media, because for the 99 positive messages that I might get, that one negative one does affect you, and you try not to let it affect you, but it does. And especially when it's not on a forum or something. Because if I personally log into that forum, then I do that at my own risk. When it's your own personal account, and she was like, no, you just have to stand strong. Myself, the players, the club, we do a lot of good, positive stuff on social media. So the seminar I was at yesterday with the LMA was all about inclusion and diversity, etc. And part of it was about victimisation and harassment. And I looked at it and I thought, our players get victimised and harassed. I get victimised and harassed. If I worked anywhere else, it would not be acceptable, and I don't think it's acceptable in football, and I don't think players should have to deal with that. So our stance now, from a first team manager, staff and players, and I'd say the same to our staff that work behind the scenes, if someone wants to be aggressive or harass any of us in any way, you will be blocked, and you can call us whatever you want to call us behind the scenes, because it doesn't matter, because we won't see it, because we won't have to engage with you anymore.
And that's the important thing, isn't it? We stick with it as a team, as a we mentality as well.
Yeah, because and the sad thing is, I've already had a couple of players come off of social media because of it. The sad thing is, there's some really positive stuff from our supporters, and I don't want them to suffer. Hence the fact, and my partner went through it with me last night about ways to manage it, in the sense that you've got an opportunity to still engage with those people. But if you do want to be abusive to us, then we will block you, because I don't have to. It's my choice. You chose to sit down and write and type and do whatever you wanted to do, and I have the choice to decide whether I want to ever read it again. So that's the way we'll be.
Click here for the next video, click here to subscribe.